to Litbit channel. Today we will see the poem Punishment in Kindergarten by Kamaladas Impression Book Back question answer. First one, what was the poet mean when she says today the world is a little more my own? Answer is when the poet Kamaladas says today the world is a little more my own, she means that she has gained a sense of control, confidence and belonging in the world. This line suggests that she has overcome some of the struggles and insecurities that made her feel disconnected and marginalized. In the context of the poem Punishment in Kindergarten, despite the abrasive force that sought to punish her for being different, the lines may also suggest a sense of empowerment where the speaker feels more comfortable in her own skin and more connected to the world around her. In this statement of triumph, indicating that she has claimed a sense of ownership and agency over her life. Overall, the line, today the world is little more my own, is a powerful expression of a self-discovery, empowerment and belonging. Who was the blue-frocked woman? How did she cause pain to the child? To mention about the blue-frocked woman is her teacher. The teacher enforced rigid rules and expectations, punished the child for not conforming to societal norms. Then the child was scolded for speaking in their native language, indicating a suppression of their cultural identity. Then the teacher inflicted physical pain on the child, possibly through beating or hitting as means of discipline. Then the teacher's action caused emotional distress, making the child feel ashamed, humiliating and fearful. The blue-frocked women represent the abrasive force that stifles individuality and creativity in children, causing long-lasting emotional scars. Through this character, Kamaladas highlights the need for a more nurturing and suppressive approach to education. And look at the phrase throwing words at me. What is the significance of the word throw here? What idea of the attitude of the speaker and the feelings of the listener do you get from that? The phrase throwing words at me in the poem, the teacher words are not gentle or nurturing but rather harsh and confrontational. Then the teacher is not clearly choosing their words but rather hurling them at the child without considerations for their impact. The uses of throw implies a physical and emotional distance between the teacher and the child, emphasizing the lack of connections and understanding. The phrase reveals the speaker's attitude. The teacher is assertive and dominant, using language as a tool of control. The teacher's words are critical and disapproving, making the child feel unworthy. In the listener point of view, the aggressive tone and language make the child feel scared and vulnerable. The teacher's words diminish the child's sense of self-worth and confidence. The child feels unable to respond or defend themselves against the teacher's verbal attack. Overall, the phrase throwing words at me highlights the abrasive nature of the teacher's language and the child's feelings of vulnerability and powerlessness. Next one, what was the child doing alone near the hedge? What were her schoolmates doing? Then how did they react when the blue-frocked woman scolded and the lonely child? The child was likely wandering or playing alone near the hedge, possibly due to feelings isolated or not being included by their peers. Then the schoolmates were probably playing together, excluding the lonely child and not noticing or caring about the child's solitude. When the blue-frocked woman scolded the lonely child, the schoolmates likely stopped playing and watched the scene unfold, remained silent, not defending or supporting the child. The schoolmates' reaction suggested that they were indifferent to the child's feelings and struggles, afraid to speak up or challenge the teacher's authority, then conditioned to follow the teacher's rules and norms without questioning. The schoolmates' reaction suggested that they were indifferent to the child's feelings and struggles, afraid to speak up or challenge the teacher's authority, and conditioned to follow the teacher's rules and norms without questioning. The scenes highlights the child's isolation, the teacher's strictness, and the schoolmates' apathy, then creating the poignant and through provoking atmosphere in the poem. As the poet says that children are funny things, is that kinds of behavior peculiar to children? Do adults behave differently on such occasions? The child says children are funny things because they are often speak and act without filters, exposing the harsh reality of their experience. Children are respond to situations with raw emotion by social conversion or pretense. Then children are more susceptible to emotion pain and express the feelings openly without hiding behind a mask of property. Behavior is not peculiar to children. Adults also exhibit similar traits in various situations. However, adults may conceal their true feelings to maintain social norms, avoid conflict, or protect themselves. Adults might justify or downplay their behavior, whereas children tend to act and react more spontaneously. Then adults have developed strategies to deal with difficult situations, whereas children are still learning to navigate complex emotions and social dynamics. The poet highlights the child behavior to emphasize the innocence and authenticity of childhood, contrast between childhood and adulthood, the need to empathy and understanding in responding to children's emotional struggles. By saying children are funny things, the poet invites the readers to reflect on the unique qualities of childhood and the importance of compassionate understanding. Next one, why do you think was behaving in the peculiar way? The lonely child or her schoolmates? How would you behave in such a situation? What is your own view of the behavior of the children? I believe the schoolmates were behaving in a peculiar way by they were playing together, leaving the child isolated and alone. They didn't seem to care about the child's feelings or situation. They remained the silent when the teacher scolded the child. In such a situation, I would make an effort to engage with the child and make them feel a part of the group. I would try to understand the child's feelings and offer support. Then if the teacher was being unfair, I would speak up and define the child. Then my own view of behavior of the child is that the schoolmates' behaviors can have long-lasting negative effect on the lonely child, self-esteem and emotional well-being. Children should be encouraged to be compassionate and understanding towards their peers. The teacher's behavior and attitude towards the child can influence the schoolmates' action and perceptions. Overall, I believe that inclination, empathy and kindness are crucial in creating a supportive and nurturing environment for children to grow and develop. Next one, what did the lonely child do when the other laughed at her? The child was already isolated and alone, and the laughter from the others likely intensified her feelings of embarrassment and low self-worth. The child might have remained silent, not knowing how to react or defend herself against the ridicule. The child may have absorbed a hurt and shame, potentially leading to long-term emotional scars. The poem focuses more on the child isolation, the teacher's punishment and the schoolmates' indifference rather than the child's specific reaction to their laughter. However, it's clear that the child was deeply affected by the experience, and the poet used this to highlight their need for empathy and understanding in our interactions with the children. Next one, how do the years go by? What is meant by stopping briefly at beloved halls? Answer is, time passes swiftly without buzz or considerations for individual experience or emotion. The years move on regardless of the emotional scars or memories left on the child. Then stopping briefly at beloved halls means that as the year pass, there are brief shining moments of happiness and connections like halts or stops on the journey. These moments are treasured and remembered, providing comfort and solace in the faces of adversity. Despite these halts, times keep moving and the individuals must continue on the path, carrying their experience and emotion with them. The poet suggests that even as we move through life, we hold on to these cherished moments and they becomes an integral part of our personal narrative, shaping us into who we are. What was the relation between the child and the sun in the sky? However, they in similar situation. The child and the sun in the sky share a symbolic connection. The child is isolated from her peer and the sun is alone in the sky, highlighting their shared sense of loneliness. The child is watched by the teacher and peers but not truly seen and comprehended, just as the sun is observed in the sky but its true nature and power are not fully grasped. The child is confined to their situation and the sun is fixed in its crystal path, unable to change its course. The similarity in the situation lies in that despite being present, both the child and the sun are ignored or overlooked in their own ways. The child is at the mercy of the teacher and peers, while the sun, through powerful, is bound by its crystal. The child yearns for understanding and acceptance, and the sun warmth and lights can be seen as a symbol of its own desire for connection with the world below. The poet draws this parallel to underscore the child's sense of isolation and disconnections, emphasizing the need for empathy and understanding. Last one, the poet says that as she is an adult now, there is no need to remember the picnic, yet she remembers it and writes about it why. The poet Kamaladas remembers and writes about the picnic despite claiming no need to because the experience left a lasting impact on her emotions and writing about it helped process and resolve those feelings. The events was dramatic experience and revisiting it allows her to confront and deals with the lingering effects. By sharing her story, she hopes to raise awareness and promote empathy for children who face similar situation. Writing about the experience helps her understand herself and her past, facilitating personal growth and introspection. The act of writing serves as the therapeutic release, allowing her to confront and overcome the pains and emotion associated with the memory. Poet's decision to remember and write about the picnic highlights are lasting the impact of a childhood experience, importance of confronting and resolving past traumas, values of empathy and understanding in healings and growth. By exploring this memory, the poet demonstrates the significance of acknowledging and working through past experience to move forward. Thank you viewers. Thanks for watching this video.